Masada, and I hope everybody could see me, is located over here. It's kind of in between the two Dead Seas. I'll put one rock, okay, over here. So what's the big deal? Why am I so emotional about this place? And I hope you will love it also at the end of this tour. What happened with that group of people that came here 70 years after King Herod died? What is the big deal? Why is it so exciting for me? Oh, I have to tell the story already. Come on, Maya, we need to go to the spa. 70 years after King Herod died, the temple still stood. Do you remember what Jesus said when he entered Jerusalem? When he saw the temple? Not even one stone would stand out. Just kind of to understand, for Jewish people, you had to go to the temple 3 times a year in order to fulfill your Judaism. You had to visit the house of God. By the way, what does it mean? Just to understand, there was no such thing as Jews living in New York or Australia or France. So you had to be around this place. You had to come and visit the house of God. Yeah, we believe that God, this was his house. God is everywhere. But this was the Holy of Holies. And 3 times a year you had to leave everything and walk to Jerusalem and walk up. For Jesus, for Yeshua, to come to Jerusalem. Just kind of imagine for a second that journey to Jerusalem from the Galilee, from wherever you're coming, and finally you see the house of God. It's a very happy, exciting moment. And when Yeshua enters Jerusalem, what does he say? I'm sorry, I'm with my back. He cries, he weeps. Not even one rock is going to stand. After the crucifixion, resurrection, the temple continues staying, right? It stays there for a while. I hear a lot of tour guides saying that this was a beautiful time when we had the temple. Everything was great. Actually, it wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. There were lots of different groups of Jewish people. I'm talking about after the crucifixion, resurrection, and every group of Jewish people were 100% sure that they're doing it right. And if you're not doing it like me, you're wrong. Not only you're wrong, you don't have the right to live. There was one group called the Sikiri. They called the Sikiri because in Latin, Sikir is a little, like a weapon. And they would walk around the streets of Jerusalem, and if they would see somebody not from their group, I'm sorry, they would stab them. And because the streets are very narrow, they would put it back in and manage to escape without nobody noticing. This was a horrible time. You're getting it? One group decided to rebel against the Roman Empire. Now, what is a Roman Empire nowadays? It's as if, and it really pains me to say this, it's as if Israel will go into war with all of the European countries around it and all of the Arab countries around it, and that the whole world will hate it and will go against it. Does it sound familiar? Yes. You want to understand why this story means so much to us? Because we don't look at it as history. And what happens when this tiny little country fights against this huge empire? What do you think the Romans are going to do? And it doesn't matter for the Romans if it's one group of the Jewish people and the rest were okay with the Romans being here. They said enough is enough, all Jews are to blame. And they send a huge army to this land, and they go systematically, 67 AD, systematically from north to south, and they kill each and every village. They come to the Jewish village and they say you have 2 options. Or you become Roman, pagan, believing in many gods, or we're going to kill you. And they go, sister, now some villages say, okay, we will become Romans. Spoiler, there's going to be another rebellion and then there's not going to be a choice. Okay? So they go systematically from north to south, each and every village, Magdala, we're going to be there. We're going to Tzipori, we're going to be there. All this, what do they do when they come to Jerusalem, to the house of God, to the Holy of Holies? Friends, they destroyed the temple, the house of God. When Yeshua was standing and seeing the temple, not even one, the temple is destroyed. And what happens to the Jewish people? We're spread all over the world for 2,000 years. Friends, my dad was born in Iraq. My mom was born in England. Every Israeli that you ask them, where are you originally? We're spread all over, and we're not able to come back here for 2,000 years. In the past, we used to go to the temple. Now we don't have a temple. Judaism changed. You know, we go to synagogue to pray. Why do Jewish people pray 3 times a day and not 5 or once? Because when we used to have the temple, we used to sacrifice something 3 times a day. When we get married, in the happiest moment, I hope, of the life, I would look at my loved one under the chuppah and I would say to them, I don't say I'm going to love you forever for good or for bad. I look at my loved one and I would say, if I forget of thee, Jerusalem, let my right be forgotten. This is how dramatic this is. And then what do we do in Jewish weddings? We break the glass. What is a glass? Why do we do that? To remember the destruction of the temple in the happiest days. You want to understand Judaism? You have to understand that event. You're getting it? 2,000 years ago, we're spread all over. And when Jerusalem is destroyed, when the temple is destroyed, it's a done deal. It's clear that they won the battle. Look, 930 people, almost 1,000, 937 people managed to escape. And where did they come to? They came to Masada. Why? Because they remember there's a fortress with lots of food and lots of water. And they came here in the year 70 AD, right? Some came a little bit earlier, but 70 AD, they come over here and they sit over here. What did the Romans do? Did they just go back to Rome? No. Why? Because until the last Jew is not dead, we're not going back home. You're listening to what I'm saying, why it's not history? That's right. It doesn't matter that it's 1,000. What 1,000 children, women, what can they do? We're not going home until the last Jew dies. So what do? They come to Masada, 1,000 people. How many soldiers do you think they need? You tell me. Guess. How many soldiers? 10,000 soldiers. 10,000 soldiers. And what do? They play with our minds. Listen to what I'm saying. They play with our minds. They build a wall surrounding Masada. It's not a high wall. It's very low. Psychological. None of you are going to go out alive. And then they built 8 camps all around. Ben pointed one of these camps. You're going to see another one on the other side. And they're saying, we're going to sit here and wait because you're going to come down, because your water is going to run out and your food is going to run out. And we're here waiting for you to kill you. And the Jews that are here, the almost 1,000, every day they look down and the Romans have plenty. 3 years go by, friends, 73. The Romans had enough. Silva, the commander, said, I want to go back to Rome. I want to go to a real spot, right? And what does he do? He says, I have a problem because there's a snake path, not good for an army, because one by one, cannon was sitting before on like a round stone. When I said it's a weapon, why is it a weapon? They carved it. And if somebody tried to come up, they rolled it down. They used it as a weapon. You're getting it? The Romans said, we want to solve this problem. What will we do? We're going to build a ramp from the other side. And we're going to slowly kind of build it until we're able to go up to the mountain. Now, think about the Jewish people standing here, looking down, and they see the ramp being built. Now, they tried to stop them, but the Romans were very smart. What did they do? They brought Jewish slaves. What do? You kill your brothers, you kill your sisters. So the ramp is being built, it's being built, it's being built, it's being built. And the leader, I'm sorry about the dust, the leader of this rebellion, Elazar ben Yair, he sees what's going on and he comes to the people and he says to them, friends, that's it, it's done. They're about to come up. The good thing that could happen to us right now is for them to kill us. But if you know a little bit about the Roman Empire, that's not what they're going to do. They're going to take our children, and I'm not going to go into details about what's going to happen to them. And they're going to take the wives and the women, and the same destiny is going to happen to them. And they're going to take the men, and some of us are going to kill, but some of us are going to take to be a gladiator. Gladiator is when you fight against an animal until you die, or another person. They knew what's waiting for them. Death is a good option. Being kidnapped by animals is not a good option. And what do you do when your life is, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the hostages. Yes. What do you do when your life is under threat? what do you do? And Eliezer ben Yair says, we better die as free people, as people that fought, than die as slaves to the Romans. And he suggests something very, very, he says, we're gonna die as free people, we will kill ourselves and not fall in their hands. So what do? They do a lottery. He has to give this speech twice in order to convince them. Not everybody agreed to begin with, but he takes pottery and he breaks it and he says, you know, it's not allowed to commit suicide, right? So we're gonna choose 10 men. We're gonna write the names of all of the village and we're gonna choose 10 men. And these 10 men are gonna kill everybody else. And from these 10 people, one person is gonna kill the 9 and then he's gonna kill himself. When the Romans finally managed to get up on the mountain, they found bodies, they found bones, they found nobody was alive. Nobody was here. And when we did archaeological digging, and soon, not now, you will see over here, we found pieces of pottery with some of the names. One of the names was Eliezer ben Yair, the leader of the rebellion. What is the story of Masada? You want to understand why people climb to see the sunrise? Look, the sunrise is nice here, it's beautiful, but it's not the sunrise. There's other places that you would see nicer sunrise. The reason is because another day is not obvious for us. The fact that we're here is not obvious. We need to fight in order to be here. It's the idea of it. It's the idea that we need to fight for our freedom. Our freedom is not obvious for us. I want to tell you about 2 different Jewish figures in this period of time before we continue. Because I really, really believe that this site is who we are. I told you about Elazar ben Yair. Elazar ben Yair said that if I'm not in this land, if I'm not going to fight for this land, I'm not going to be able to survive. I need to go to the army. I need to serve. I need to make sure that we and our children are safe on this land. And there's always going to be people that are going to attack us. We will always have to protect ourselves. That's option number 1. There was another Jewish figure that I didn't tell you about. His name is Ben Zakkai. He's a rabbi in the area of Jerusalem. And when the temple was destroyed, are you still with me, or are you like schwitzing to? No. Ben Zakkai said, after he saw the temple destroyed, he said, I understand that what's important is Judaism. It's not necessarily the land. Look, if everybody died over here, how are there still Jews? How do we know how to practice Judaism? Elazar ben Yair, Yochanan ben Zakkai came to the Romans and said, take the land, take it, it's yours, just let me keep my Judaism. And they humiliated him. They said, okay, you could go, we'll put you in a coffin, but you could go. Because of Ben Zakkai, we know what Judaism is. Okay, you're getting it? And what is the third option? A guy called Yosef ben Matityahu. You're going to hear a lot about him. Yosef ben Matityahu is not from the south, he's actually from the north. So I'm going to move to the north. I know this is not north. So he's from the north. The exact same story happened in the north. Mountain, a wall around it, Roman siege, and lottery, and 10 people, and then 1 person. Yosef ben Matityahu is the last person to survive. And then he looks around him, and what does he say? I don't want to die. I don't want to die because the land is not important and my Judaism is not important. The most holy thing is life. Is life. So what does he do? He goes to the Romans, he puts his hand up and he says, that's it, I'm Roman, I'm yours, I'm whatever you want me to be. And they say to him, you know what? We're going to use you. We're going to change your name from Yosef ben Matityahu to Josephus Flavius. You heard about the guy? Yes. Josephus Flavius was the guy that wrote all of the history. Everything. Without Josephus Flavius, I don't know anything about these rocks. It's all because of him. You want to understand the Israeli society, understand that these 3 options are still alive for us. How do we practice our Judaism? And I'm not being judgmental to any of the options. I chose option number 1. And I can share with you that it's a very painful, very painful, very painful option. I told you I was in the army. and I was a tank instructor, and how great of an experience it was. I'm gonna be very personal because that's how Israelis are. I had a boyfriend in that time. He was the love of my life, and my boyfriend didn't come back for more. This is a price. When I'm saying I'm gonna fight for this land, and this is it. And when somebody is saying, you know, I want to be Jewish, I want to be connected to my Jewish roots, you guys, family, it's part of the story. We need to have this. We need people to pray, people praying for this land, because we will not survive without you guys. We will not survive without the prayers, without the connection to God, and we will not survive without somebody saying, you know what, life is the most important thing. We need to learn our history. We need to learn our roots. We need to learn our connections. You want to know what Masada is so important? Because this is a choice that is still alive. Whew, I got too emotional. I haven't been here for a while, but yeah, thinking about the world right now and what's going on, and the fact that so many countries and so many attacks against us in October 7th, that is still very much alive in our feeling and in our blood. What I'm going to ask you to do right now is slowly, get up and go to that room.